Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, March the 26th, 2020. It is currently 1:15 p.m. Central Time, and we are about to do something that is extremely dangerous. In fact, I should start this with warning, 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 warning. We are going to be talking about music and Christians. That is dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous. Music and Christians. That is, in fact, here's what happened. You talk about music and Christians hear you talk about it. This is what happened. Yes, you get shot at. You get shot at quickly because we should not talk about it because it's just Christians go crazy when you mention music. And if you try at all to step in and go, wait, I think you have that a little bit wrong. It doesn't matter. If it's a new song, if it's an old song, if it's an old group, if it's a new group, it doesn't matter who it is, what it is. If they say something about music, if they say something about lyrics, and you step in and go, well, actually, maybe I don't know if that's. Oh no, you're a heretic. You're lost. You're not reformed. You're not godly. You don't care about God. And it's like, whoa. Slow down, everyone. I just wanted to possibly add a little clarification to how we understand a song. Now, if you know me, you know I have had a history of bad experiences when it comes to music and Christianity. Let me just give you an example. When, because of my home life, I did not live with my family. I was separated from my family. I'm not going to get into all of it. Just a bad situation, wasn't living with my family. And at one point in time, I was allowed to move into the church parsonage, First Baptist Church in a particular town. I won't even name the church. And there I was. It was my place to live, right? That was the understanding. I could live there, right? Now, I was not given any rules about what I could or could not do. It was a place to live, and I was grateful for this. So one night, as I have done frequently in my life, like thousands upon thousands of hours of listening to music, I was listening to music in the church parsonage. Now, yes, I was a teenager at the time. Forget being a teenager. Okay. I'm far past the teenage time now, and I would still listen to music as loud as humanly possible. Right. You know, if it's too loud, you're too old, as my mother used to say. She said it with some words thrown in there that I can't say. But yes, I was raised in a home that if it was too loud, you're too old. Basically don't complain about loud music. So I listen to music loud. So obviously I'm in the parsonage. I don't know if it was a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night. I don't know. And I was listening to music and it was loud. All right. Now we were about to get into kind of a weird conversation with, I was going to have a discussion with the pastor because, even though I was living there, he felt, and I don't know if his wife had done it before, but it felt like that they would just walk through the door instead of knocking. And I was like, well, that could be, if I'm getting out of a shower or something, that could be kind of a bad situation. So I was going to kind of address this issue at some point, but they hadn't really seemed to hold any real concern about, not just walking through the door, but okay, neither here nor there. So it's at night and I'm listening to, are you ready for this? Foreigner. Oh no. I was listening to Foreigner. Yes, I was listening to the band Foreigner. Now, if you don't know anything about music, we won't go back through to the songs I was listening to. I was listening to Foreigner, and it was loud. And at one point during listening of the song, I thought I heard some like banging, like I thought I heard some kind of banging like that. I'm like, what is going on? And so right when the one song ended and the next one got ready to begin, I don't know if you remember the old days when you were listening to an LP or a CD or a cassette, you had the delay, the little pause between songs. It wasn't crossfaded, as they would call it, like you can do on some streaming services. So there was that little, 1 second of delay, of silence. And all of a sudden I heard smash. I mean, what just happened? Like the breaking of glass. And I'm like, what was that? So I opened the door to the room I was in to go to the front door, and the glass is broken. The door flings open, right? And this is no lie. I am physically grabbed by my ear, drug out of the house. It's the pastor's wife. She smashed the window. She smashed the window to unlock the door, drug me out, and I was told that I could not have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ with listening to music like that. So I could not be a Christian and listen to the band Foreigner. As a teenager, around here in West Texas, there were towns who had rules against, you could not have dances in the town. And these came from the religious institutions forbidding dancing. Okay. Go see the movie Footloose. Okay. A little bit of that happened around this part. In fact, I think that story was inspired by something that someone witnessed in a Texas town. If I remember correctly, the movie doesn't take place in Texas, but I think the story was inspired from that. I'd have to look that up to verify that. But yes, so you weren't supposed to dance in certain parts of Texas back then, and it was a war on rock and roll in the 1980s with churches in this area. Churches all around this area would have their little rock conference, right? Their conference on rock and roll is the music of the devil. And you would hear all these stories, like I was listening to AC/DC, Hell's Bells, and all of a sudden demons came out of my speakers and all of this. And it was just, and I would go to these conferences, and I would just sit there and to be honest with you, it was almost a form of entertainment. I would almost laugh. Now, I wasn't a Christian at the time, but it was humorous to me because you would have these pastors talking about music and they didn't have a clue what they were talking about. They didn't understand the lyrics. They would misinterpret songs like nobody's business, rip verses out of their context, didn't know what they were talking about. Absolutely it was embarrassing. It's like if you're going to be a preacher and you're going to stand behind the pulpit or you're going to speak out against music, here's a novel idea. Know what you're talking about, right? Have some idea. Be fair. Oh, no. If you're going to try to be fair with a secular song that may not represent biblical truth, don't call for fair, because if you try to be fair, you're not really reformed. Did you know that? Yes. I'm not really reformed. And my church's mission statement of in-depth teaching of doctrine, theology, and church history, you know what? I learned that this week or last week. You know what I learned? That can't be true because I tried to offer a fair view of a very popular song. How popular? Well, it's been voted by some as one of the greatest songs ever written. But don't try to be fair with it, because we don't want fair in Christianity, do we? No, we don't want fair. Now, why am I talking about all this? Well, unless you've been living under a rock, we are in the middle of a pandemic, right? COVID-19. I think even if you live under a rock, you would know this right now, okay? Because you would probably be like, man, it got quiet around me. Where'd everybody go? Okay, right? Social distancing. So, but in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, some people, some celebrities got together and shared, I guess, a video of themselves singing this very popular song. And lo and behold, Christians don't like it. How dare they sing that song? How foolish of them. How dumb of them. It shows their spiritual blindness. It shows that they're on their way to hell. Okay, well, they may not say it just like that, but you get the considering, well, we talked about hell in the last live broadcast, but we won't go back to that, all right? So everyone kind of got upset, and I saw, well, let's just do this. I'll just show you how it's kind of being talked about. I heard this on the radio, and so I found the audio. I'll play it for you. Just to show you that this is not just some isolated thing. This is being talked about even on national radio programs. Here's from the Breakpoint daily commentary. It's only like 4 minutes long. They'll even mention the song. Here we go.
Imagine if this virus-ridden world was all there is. That certainly wouldn't elicit a hallelujah from me. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Last year, my wife and I, with a group of ministry leaders, visited the ancient church of St. Anne in Jerusalem. It's a hauntingly austere and beautiful stone church built in the Middle Ages with such incredible acoustics that visitors just cannot help but sing. After our group sang some hymns together, a group of largely European tourists followed, locking arms, closing their eyes, swaying and singing Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. You know, that one from Shrek? This ancient church sits by the biblical pool of Bethsaida, where Jesus healed the lame beggar, in a story that explicitly teaches we cannot heal ourselves. How ironic, then, that here, of all places, they would sing a biblically inaccurate song about sex that has nothing to do with God whatsoever. It seemed like such a contradiction at the time. The beauty of the setting, it seemed, stirred something deep inside them. But who exactly were they singing this song about nothing to? No one? Well, then last week, actress Gal Gadot posted an Instagram video that featured her and a few dozen other celebrities singing John Lennon's secular utopian anthem, Imagine. The video is intended to encourage people during this global coronavirus pandemic, but many who've thought about the lyrics of Imagine deeply at all, which, by the way, Britons voted as the greatest song of all time, rightly wondered how it could possibly comfort anyone who finds themselves, as Lennon's pal Paul McCartney once sang, in times of trouble. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try, the song begins. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Other things Lennon asked us to imagine include no religion, no possessions, and a universal brotherhood of man, a line which I'm sure wouldn't be woke enough for today. But how could such a world, one in which there is no higher power in control, where there is no life beyond death, in which nothing outside of us exists to ground our human dignity or our morality, and where history is an unguided accident headed nowhere, how could any of that bring us anything resembling a utopia? In such a world without ultimate standards of right and wrong, what makes a so-called brotherhood of man or a life in peace a better one than that of greed or survival of the fittest? In fact, in such a world, why would a virus be any less valuable than a human? Why should we protect the lives of the elderly and frail instead of protecting our economic bottom lines? In other words, the imagined conditions of Imagine can never produce the imagined result of Imagine. And herein lies the problem with just about every utopian vision. They're for a world that's imaginary. In fact, even more than just being imaginary, these kinds of visions can be deadly. If the history of the 20th century teaches us anything, it's that this world-only political utopianisms always lead to catastrophe, in which individuals are sacrificed on the altars of some collective good, such as with the totalitarianisms of Stalin's Russia, Hitler's Germany, and Mao's China. Even so, I appreciated a tweet by my friend Brian Mattson, who reminded me to extend compassion toward these celebrities singing in that awful Imagine video, a compassion that I probably should have been quicker to extend to those European tourists who chose to sing an empty Hallelujah ballad instead of something like the Hallelujah chorus last fall in that beautiful church in Jerusalem. You see, not only are they reflecting the image of God in their impulses to sing and to look for some higher meaning or purpose of existence, grasping for beauty, for meaning, for consolation, for truth that can only be found in their Creator and His Son, but for now, Imagine and Hallelujah, those are the only hymns they got. Let's pray that one day these men and women will come to realize the truth of what C.S. Lewis wrote in Mere Christianity. If I find in myself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that I was made for another world. Or as St. Augustine said, Thou hast formed us for Thyself, O God. Our hearts are restless till they find their rest in Thee. During this time of global crisis, loving our neighbors must include pointing them to where they can find the hope and the salvation they may not even realize they're looking for. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.
Now, I don't have a problem of any major sort with that commentary. I think you're right. The world that the song Imagine imagines can't exist. It isn't possible. They can't, what they're imagining doesn't work. It will not work. And I got no problem offering analysis of the song. I got no problem digging into the lyrics and taking them apart. But we have to begin with, what was John Lennon trying to say in Imagine? What was his goal? Was his goal to sit down and go, I'm going to write a theological argument against heaven and hell. I'm going to write a theological argument for atheism. Was he trying to make a theological statement, or was he trying to say something else? What was he trying to say? And then once we look at what he was trying to say, then we can analyze whether that's accurate or it's fair, or what questions does it bring up, and we can analyze it. So let me make this very clear, because I'm going to get shot, and then people are going to yell at me. And I've already been attacked. That I'm not reformed, that my church is not really committed to what, we say we're committed to. I mean, just nonsense. Just that I need to man up. Once I voiced that I was a little hurt by the attack, that I just need to man up. I mean, just absolutely foolish, bullying kind of behavior by so-called Christians, all because I had the audacity to say, wait a minute, I don't think we're handling the song fair. But we're not supposed to do that, because fairness is not something that we as Christians should strive for, right? We should not. So I want to make this very clear. I am not agreeing with the message and Imagine. I tried to point this out numerous times to people who were attacking me. I am not, I repeat, not agreeing with the message of the song Imagine. I am not. However, John Lennon, as the songwriter, which, if we know the history of the song, he was kind of influenced by Yoko Ono, if I get her name right. Okay, she had written something. In fact, we'll go into the history. I've got it written down. I've got all the information about the song. I'm gonna get her name wrong, but yes, Yoko Ono. I believe that's how you say her name. I have it written down, so we'll get it right here in a minute. She had written a poem, some poetry, where she kind of threw out this phrase. John Lennon took it. Now, he never really gave her credit for the song, and then later on, he acknowledged that really she should get songwriting credit. So we have to even go back to what she was trying to say. We have literally Julian Lennon, John Lennon's son, even saying, hey, that's not what it is. We even have him saying, but all of this information, all of these facts, this song has been written about nonstop. It doesn't matter. We don't have to fairly represent it. But let me just make it clear. I may not agree with the message of the song, but I believe that we should strive to be fair. So let's do this. Let's start with the lyrics, just really quick. If you don't know, Imagine was released in 1971 on the album Imagine. So note 1971, you got the 60s. We're coming out of the 60s. John Lennon with the Beatles. Very symbolic of the entire kind of philosophy of that time and that period. We could talk about the whole hippie kind of philosophy and mentality that was going around. You kind of put it in that context. I think it makes some sense, but yep. Here we go. All right. Imagine. Here are the lyrics. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us. And the world will be as one. Please note that line. And the world will be as one. And the world will be as one. Please take note to that, because that's a very key to interpreting the song. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the world sharing all the world. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. And the world will live as one. That's how the song, the literally last line of the song. What is this song about? the world living as one. Now, Christians keep asking, I just don't know how people can find any comfort in this song. Why would people turn to this song during the time of a pandemic? What comfort do they find in it? Well, let's do it. Let's before we get into some facts about this song and we read, I'm going to go from all kinds of different information about this song. Let's just think about this from a logical perspective. If you're just think about this. Let's just think about this honestly from any perspective. Millions of people, billions of people love different songs, and many times their love for the song has nothing to do with the lyrics or anything to do with the message. Most people don't even interpret lyrics, analyze lyrics. There is a melody. There is a hook. There is something musically that they are drawn to. They hear the music, something clicks in their brain that says, you like this. It connects to an emotion. It connects to a feeling. It connects to something in their brain. They're drawn to the rhythm. They're drawn to the structure. They're drawn to the melody. There's something about the musical structure. And so people will walk around singing a song, saying they love the song, and you'll look at the lyrics and you'll say, you love that song? That's a twisted, messed up. Oh, I don't care about the lyrics. I love the music. That has been true of music since words were put to it. People are drawn to the structure of the song and the music. So there's millions of people who just love the song imagined for its music, and they don't even really give it much thought. So there's a lot of people who found comfort in it because of the song, because of the music of it. I don't know how people can't understand that. People can find comfort there's people who find comfort in a song, and you're like, how is that song comforting? It's like people walking around, Every Breath You Take by the Police, and want to play it at their wedding. That's about a stalker. That's about possessive love. Every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. That is psychotic scary. Okay, that song should scare you to death. But people are like, oh, I love this song. I'm going to dedicate it to my girlfriend. No, girlfriend, if your boyfriend dedicates Every Breath You Take by the Police to you, you need to get a restraining order. Okay, you need to run. Okay, but no. Why? Because there was something about the music that they loved, all right? Or they don't even think about the lyrics. So I don't even know. So first of all, it's not even controversial to figure that out. It's not even difficult. People are drawn to music. But what could it be about the lyrics? What could it be about the lyrics? Let me make this very clear before I get into all the information I have here. I'll just state it clearly. Here's what this song is about. This song is about setting aside everything that Lennon perceived to be divisive and that divides people. And what he's longing for is, yes, as that commentary said, a utopian view of the world. And he wants us to all live as one. Can't you imagine a world where we could all live as one? Yes, you can call him a dreamer, but he hopes one day you'll join him in the dream for a world where we all live as one. And what kinds of things divide us? Well, what divides us is religion. Religion divides us. Now, come on, whether you agree with Lennon or not, just look on Twitter at Christians arguing about everything. Clearly, religion divides. We can't agree on anything. And from a lost person's perspective, all you do is fight. You fight that your theology is right, that your church is right, that your denomination is right. All you do is fight. You're divided. You're not unified. So maybe we can imagine a world that didn't exist. Countries fight wars against one another, right? Wars, they kill one another. Can't you imagine if there was just no more countries? Wouldn't that be great? Possessions. People fight and kill and steal over possessions. People will beat each other up on Black Friday for a sale. People will get into an argument in a grocery store for toilet paper during the COVID-19 pandemic. Can't you imagine a world where there's no possessions? Come on, imagine that. We could all live as one. He's trying to make an argument for unity. He's not trying to make a theological argument. He's trying to say all these things that divide, get rid of them. Then we'll be at one. Now, that is a utopian that he imagines that's never going to happen, right? And the reason it's never going to happen from a Christian perspective is because it's not these things that divide us. It's not these things that create the hatred and the fighting and the war and the division. What causes these problems is because we have something inside of us called human depravity. He doesn't acknowledge human depravity, obviously not, because John Lennon is writing from a non-Christian perspective. So he thinks if we could just get a world to get rid of all of these things, we could have world peace. We'll never have world peace because the problem isn't the things outside of us that divide us. It's because of the hatred and the selfishness and the sinfulness and the ungodliness that we don't love our neighbor and we don't love others. It comes from inside of us, our depravity. So he's imagining a utopian. He's imagining a world and a utopia that can't exist. The imagined world of imagine can't exist because of depravity. That we can address it from that way. But what he's trying to do, he's not trying to get into a theological argument. What he's trying to do is say, let's get rid of all the things that in his mind, he doesn't have any other answer. Obviously not. And so his answer is, look, all of this is killing each other, dividing each other. Let's stop it. Let's all join hands, sing Kumbaya, and let's all be happy as one. A very hippie 1968, 69, 1970, 71 idea. Come on, man. Let's just get rid of our possessions. Come on, man. Let's all free love, free drugs. Let's all, get in a muddy field at Woodstock and celebrate this unity, man. Let's all love one another. Let's all love one another. Come on, peace, man. Give peace a chance. Let's stop fighting. Come on, let's all live in a commune and sell all of our possessions and we can all be one. They wanted a world of unity and peace. They imagined a world of unity and peace, and they felt religion was a dividing issue. Well, look at history. Religion divides. There's no way to say that. Now, you can say we can acknowledge religion divides and still argue that there is religious truth, all right? Because truth clearly divides. No one is arguing that it doesn't. But see, when I just try to articulate the song, Christians will start arguing with me. I'm like, why are you arguing with me? I'm just trying to tell you the meaning of the song. I'm not saying I agree with the meaning, all right? I'm just trying to, but you're not allowed to do that. So being fair is not acceptable. The song completely ignores total depravity. It completely imagines a world that we can have perfect unity by simply getting rid of religion, countries, and possessions. I'm telling you, get rid of religion, get rid of countries, get rid of possessions, and guess what you're going to have? Disunity, fighting, war, and killing. Why? Because of depravity. So I don't agree with I don't agree ultimately with what he's trying to say. But let's listen to I'm going to read some different things about some different things said. Yeah, Yoko Ono. Yeah, Yoko Ono. If I was saying her name wrong, there we go. The Imagine concept came from Yoko Ono, who was very much into open-mindedness and using your imagination. In 1964, she published Grapefruit, a book of instructions and drawings that established the lyrical concepts for the song. Here are some examples of her instructions. Imagine the clouds dripping. Dig a hole in your garden to put them in. Imagine myself crying and using my tears to make myself stronger. Grapefruit was reissued in 1971 before the song was released that July. John joined Yoko on a series of book signings where he wholeheartedly endorsed it, often wearing a t-shirt with the book's cover. All right. So that's where the idea starts coming from right there. We can take it back. Now, what John Lennon is asking us to do in this song is imagine a place where the things that divide us, like religions and possessions, did not exist. He felt that would be a much better place. There you have that. That's what the song is about. We can all live together to be as one. That's the key to interpreting the song. It's not that complicated. The song is a strong political message, sugar-coated in a beautiful melody. Lennon realized the softer approach would bring the song to a wider audience, who hopefully would listen to his message. If you want peace, here's the message, right? Here you go. If you want peace, here's John Lennon's message. You first have to imagine it. If you want peace, you have to first imagine it. Well, here's the thing. That's what he's trying to say. He's not trying to make some theological argument about heaven or hell. But listen. Now, I agree. Some people say, well, every comment is theological. Every comment is theological in nature. I agree that. But if he's being theological, it was unintended. I'm trying to go with what he intended to say, and then we can analyze what he said. Yes, here's the thing. If I was speaking to John Lennon, you can imagine peace. Doesn't mean you're going to get worldwide peace. And the reason you're not going to get worldwide peace is because people are depraved. And peace only comes through God. We have to have peace with God before we can have peace with one another. If we want the peace of God, we have to have peace with God. We could talk about that. We could talk about that this leads to lots of questions. Hey, everyone, can we have peace this way? Can we have a world of peace this way? Can we? No, we can't. Why can't we? Is the reason we don't have peace is because of war, because of possession, or because of countries, because of possessions, and because of religion. And I will argue, no, the reason we are divided over those things is because of something inside of us, which is sin. The divisions is a symptom of our depravity. Division is not the result of these external things. We will find a reason to be divided over anything, like Christians being divided over someone simply trying to clarify the meaning of a song, right? Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? I've got some other information here. Okay. Like I did say, Lennon took songwriting credit, and he said the reason he did this is because he was kind of like, kind of in a macho attitude back then. And then later on, he gave her more and more credit. Let's see. Hundreds of hours of footage was shot to document the imagined session. So we've got hundreds of hours of video dealing with how this song was put together. There's been documentaries put on this. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Some people believe there was some backward messaging in it, but we're not getting into all that craziness. John Lennon didn't think the song would be much of a hit. All right. See here, I've got all the different people who've covered it. Some people say it's a communist manifesto. That's the quote we usually hear. But what people don't see is that John Lennon immediately said, after he said the song basically is a communist manifesto, is that he's not particularly a communist and he doesn't belong to any movement. No one ever gives that quote. They only take part of it out of its context. Let's see here. Let's see. There's some other things we can have here. I'm just going through I've got pages of documentation about the song. Where is it? I have Julian Lennon's quote. Where is it? Yeah, Julian Lennon, okay, John Lennon's son, shared his thoughts on the song in the 2019 documentary, Above Us Only Sky. And this is what he says, I quote, "He's not shoving it down people's throats. It's not religious and it's not political. It's humanity and life. We all really want what he's singing about. And I think that's why even today the song is so important. The sad thing is the world is still in a bad way. Why is it impossible to move forward in these dreams and make them a reality?" Now there's Julian Lennon acknowledging, hey, it wasn't religious. It was about humanity. It was about peace. It's about trying to be all together. And then he asked the question, why can't we get there? Well, I know, Julian, I know why we can't get there. Your father was shot and killed because the world is a messed up place because of sin. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that. And I think I have another quote by John Lennon here in regards to the religious imagery here. Let me see if I have it. think this one has the quote in it that I'm looking for. Let me look here. That's the quote from Yoko Ono. No, this doesn't have it. There is a quote. I wanted to give you the exact quote so I don't take it out of context. And I don't have it. I thought I had it in my notes. Let me look. Give me one more second. I mean, there's so much information about the song. I mean, that's the crazy thing. There's pages and pages and pages of documentation about the song. So I don't know why people get so, like if you try to correct it a little bit, I don't know why people get so irritated. Yeah, and everyone talks about how easy the song is to understand. All right. I would have to find it. I don't know where it was. I thought I had it in my notes, but I don't. I got like who knows how many notes there, so I don't want to sit there and go through it. There's one specific quote, but it goes something basically like this. John Lennon is referring or talking to the song, and he's talking about this idea of people saying, hey, my God is better than your God. Your God is no God, and my God is better than your God. And he basically describes this, how everyone fights over their God. And he basically is like, hey, forget all of your gods. Just forget all of them. Just stop it. Because all you're doing is fighting, and your God is not better than that God. Basically, just forget that there's any God. And then you would stop fighting with one another. Then you would stop fighting with one another and instead of fighting about which God is bigger or which God is stronger or which God is this. And again, obviously, John Lennon had a very negative review towards religion and towards this concept. He did. He has the famous quote that he didn't know which would, go away first, Christianity or rock and roll. Which one would disappear first? Christianity. Now, everyone always gets the quote. I don't know which will, disappear first, Christianity. And the fact that he said Christianity could disappear, everyone loses it. But he also threw in rock and roll as well. He didn't believe that was going to last either. He believed both was going to disappear, but he had a very non-Christian perspective of the world, and that is obviously true. And obviously, I reject his view. I obviously don't agree. So here's what I want to say: the song "Imagine" is a song imagining a utopian world of peace where we all live together as one. That is never going to happen. The reason it's never going to happen, Christianity steps in and says because of total depravity. It's never going to happen. If we want peace, we have to have peace with God, and the peace with God hopefully will bring us at peace with one another as much as it can. We seek to live as peaceably with people as much as possible, but we still have to take a stand for truth, for morality, and for doctrinal theological truth. And that can divide. Yes, it can divide. But you can see during a time where the world is going through a pandemic, you can see people being drawn to a message of unity, a message of peace, a message of all living as one. We're all in this together kind of concept. Let's all support one another. It may be a secular, fleshly attempt at unity and compassion, but you can see, I don't know why it's so complicated, why people wouldn't be drawn to it. From a Christian perspective, we know, no, we are one in Christ. We would focus on it from a more spiritual perspective and understanding that imagining all of these things to go away is not going to bring about global peace. Didn't then, it will not now, and it will never in the future. But people love the concept of a world of peace. People love the concept of a world of unity. People get tired of all the fighting and arguing. People get tired of it. People get tired of seeing Christians act like lunatics on social media arguing over everything. They get tired of seeing Christians fight. They get tired of seeing religions fight. They get tired of seeing politicians fight. They get tired of all the fighting and all the arguing and all the division and all the bickering. We are a very divided country right now. So a song that says, hey, can we just stop all of this and live as one is going to be appealing. Problem is Christianity sometimes doesn't have a very appealing message because we're like, hey, become a Christian and then fight with everyone else who differs with your version of Christianity. Fight with everyone else. Argue, argue, argue. So I can see why the song is appealing. But let me make it very clear. It's it brings up very important questions. Why do we not have unity? Answer, Christian answer, depravity. They don't have an answer. Even if you had a world with no religion, a world with no country, a world with no possessions, would you still have peace? No. Why not? Again, depravity. All right? Even if you had none of those, even if you throw out no religion and no God, then do you even have a basis for wanting to have peace? Do you even have a basis for morality? And the answer is no. There's a million problems with the song that we can analyze it. I just want to make it very clear that John Lennon wasn't trying to come out and make this. He was trying to make a statement about unity. That was the purpose of the song. That was his message. And all I'm trying to say is there theological implications in the song? Yes, but those theological implications isn't the purpose of the song. They are the unintended consequences of speaking about these things. When anyone speaks about anything, there's a theological element to it. I do a podcast called Theology Central, where we make theology central to everything because everything is theological in nature. I understand that. I'm no way trying to deny that. When I say that the song is not theological, what I'm trying to say is that Lennon wasn't trying to say, oh, I'm going to make an argument about no God. I'm going to make an argument for atheism. No, he's trying to make an argument for world peace and unity. And he believed that could only be accomplished by getting rid of religion, possessions, and countries. And anyone who watches the news, you're like, a lot of arguing and fighting and division over money and possessions. Countries go to war with one another. We can never get along. And man, religion, people fight never-ending battles over their God being stronger, bigger, better, and more glorious than the other God. So just think of it from a purely humanistic perspective, we should get rid of all of these things. There you have it. So how should you react? I agree with the end of the Breakpoint commentary that I played. Show some compassion. People in the middle of a global pandemic and they're finding some assurance in a song. You don't have to come and bash the song. You don't have to go. You can say, hey, let's talk about the song. What do you think Lennon's trying to say there? I think he's trying to call for global peace. Yeah. Do you think if there was no religion, if there was no country, and if there was no possession, do you think that would bring about global peace? Do you think that even if we got the world that he imagined, we would really end up with the world he imagined? Do you think? And then ask them if they really think that would work. And if they say, well, I don't know, then try to get them to realize that every attempt that the world has ever come up with to try to get global peace and all of this wonderful utopia always ends in disaster. And then maybe you could get them to think that maybe there's something inherently wrong inside of people. Because you would think the world he imagined, everyone would just be willingly grab onto. But if you say, yeah, you're willing to grab onto, so you're willing to get rid of all your possessions? Well, no. What are you? What are you willing to do? And then you could just and again, not in a confrontational way, but Christians love to just go, that's a piece of garbage song. That's ridiculous. Well, the world's talking about it. It went viral. Everybody was talking about the Imagine song. Instead of just saying, that's a dumb song. It's not Christian. It's garbage. How about saying, hey, guys, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So, why do you like the song? Oh, okay. Oh, you like the music of it. Okay. Have you ever thought about the lyrics? What do you think John Lennon was trying to say there? Oh, okay. You think he was trying for unity and world peace. You want world peace and unity? Yeah. I do too. I wish we could all live as one. I agree. I mean, I dream that could happen as well, but why do you think it doesn't happen? Why do you think we have so many problems that no matter what we do, no matter what president is in charge, no matter what form of government is in charge, we always end up with violence and crime and corruption and deceit and stealing and murder and rape? Why do you think this is no matter what we do, we can never accomplish this? Clearly, just imagining it isn't sufficient because millions of people have imagined it. So why do you think it doesn't work? And then you'll start slowly sliding into a conversation about human nature. And then you could throw out the idea that, have you ever considered the possibility that human nature is inherently flawed? And the reason human beings continue to commit evil acts is because there's something evil inside of us? Have you ever considered that the Bible teaches that man has a heart that is desperately wicked and deceitful above everything? That the most evil, deceptive thing on the planet is the human heart? And that's why we have all of these problems? What do you think the solution would be to that? Hey, what do you think if we had peace with our Creator, that we could then work do you think we should start with a peace with our Creator? And that the problem with humanity is that we're not right with our Creator. And then you could just lead it. But again, you don't have to do it in a dogmatic, bashing way. But here's this opportunity. Everyone's talking about this song, and we could use the song to speak about the concepts in the song that we believe are not quite right. But we could say, everyone has let's take that desire for that and then show how that desire for that is not going to be met through imagining it. He's not imagining. He's not trying to imagine an argument about theology. He's trying to in fact, here's the thing: the fact that we start arguing about the song. This is what blows my mind, and I'll end with this. This to me blows my mind. The fact that we're literally arguing about the song and arguing about it from a theological perspective literally supports what he's saying. See, if there wasn't theology, if there wasn't the Bible, if there wasn't Christianity, if there wasn't God, you wouldn't be arguing about this. It literally supports the concept of the song. But instead of arguing, let's just say it won't work. Here's the thing, and I'll end. And I know I said I was going to end with the other, but it's just to me humorous that really the arguing kind of proves the point of the song. Let me say this: art of all kinds, movies, literature, and it's just so funny, people who will condemn this song to the 18th level of hell will watch movies that have just as many flawed, messed up philosophies in it as the song Imagine by John Lennon. Okay, they're like, I hate that song by John Lennon, a bunch of garbage, atheistic, communistic, hippie nonsense. It's garbage. That song should be burned. Oh, I watched this movie last week. Dude, that movie has 9 million problems in it. Okay, but that's okay. Here's the thing. When it comes to art, we don't have to agree with the message. We're not. I don't agree with the message of Imagine by John Lennon. In fact, as big as a music fan as I am, and I listen to gobs of music, and I like to listen to current music far more than I like to live in the past and boring nostalgia. I hate old music from that. I'd rather listen to new stuff. But okay, I do listen to some old stuff. But I obviously have listened to everything by the Beatles a bazillion times, everything by John Lennon a bazillion times, everything by Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, all of their solo work. Imagine's not even my favorite John Lennon song, not even by far. A Double Fantasy would be probably my favorite John Lennon album. And because if you don't know how Double Fantasy works, it's a double album. You have one song by Lennon, one song by Yoko Ono, one song by John Lennon, one song by Yoko Ono. If we could remove all of Yoko Ono's songs and just have the songs by John Lennon, you have a great album. Okay, that's what you can do is go through Double Fantasy. You can go through it and save each song by Lennon to a playlist, and it's Double Fantasy Perfected, Double Fantasy Purified, because you get the Yoko Ono songs. I'm not a big fan of her songs, but that's okay. Yeah. And you want to talk about some non-Christian things. Listen to one of Yoko Ono's songs in there. Yeah, you'll hear some sounds that you probably don't want to listen to, all right? So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of songs written by every group that has some ideas we don't agree with. But just make sure, here's all I ask, just be fair. John Lennon wanted to write a song about us all living together as one. And he thought the way to do that is to get rid of those things. End of story. End of those stories. And he believed that if we could just forget heaven and forget hell, and why would he say imagine no heaven and imagine no hell? Because imagine heaven and hell is the ultimate divider. Heaven, these people go to heaven. Hell, these people burn forever. That's a division. See, he's going through. What better way to talk about getting rid of division than going at the ultimate divider? Heaven and hell, the eternal divider. Let's imagine that. He's trying to get rid of things that cause division. He's using religious concepts to talk about getting rid of barriers of division, because he would think heaven and hell is the greatest divider of all time, because it divides human beings for eternity. So, come on, it makes perfect sense of what he's trying to do there. So, all right, there you go. There's my take. I'm sorry I didn't have that quote. I wish I could find it. I want to go look for it again, but you can't do it live on the air. But it's John Lennon arguing, this person over here argues that my God is stronger than this person. I think he uses an expletive, like basically blank all of that. Stop fighting and arguing over that and we can be one. I wish I had it, but I mean, that literally shows he's not trying to make an argument about religion. He's just trying to make an argument that religion divides, and he wants a world where there's no division. That's what he wants. And I understand what he wanted. I hate division. I hate all the fighting. I hate the fighting and arguing amongst Christians. Drives me to the point of craziness. I hate even looking at Christians. They fight about everything. Everyone's got a debate. Everyone's got even right now during this COVID-19 pandemic, Christians are arguing, fighting over should a church live stream their service or not live stream their service. We can't even agree on that. But just because we're divided doesn't mean there isn't truth. And as someone pointed out to me, truth divides, which it's just funny that someone would point that out to me. I've made a career of claiming truth divides. I mean, man, I've stood for truth and with or without offense to friend or foe. I don't back down at all. I mean, I'll get into World War III if need be, but I don't like it. And call me crazy. I don't think, and I'm going to defend myself here, I don't believe that my theology, that my Reformed theology or my Christianity or my church's mission statement of providing in-depth teaching of the scriptures, of doctrine, theology, and church history should be called into question, and that I should be told to man up simply because I believe John Lennon and his song should be treated in a fair way. I say, here's my approach. What did John Lennon try to say? What is he actually trying to say? Now, hey, let's tear it apart. Let's analyze it all day. Let's do a 3-hour podcast on the lyrics of Imagine by John. Let's go verse by verse. I'm all for it. But let's be fair to the song. I don't care who it is. I don't care what. If it's a Marilyn Manson song, I mean, he was hated by Christians. Let's at least interpret his songs correctly. I don't care if it's Eminem. Let's go. Okay, man. I mean, now we'd have to bleep, 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 beep, beep, beep. But once we get past all of the obscenities, what is he trying to say? What is he trying to say? Just be fair. And now when we're done being fair with what he's trying to say, then we can say, I disagree 1,927%. I got no problem disagreeing with I disagree with John Lennon. I disagree with the song Imagine. I just think it can be used to raise some very important questions that a lot of people are asking. A lot of people want unity. They want to live together as one. I think that people are getting tired of the fighting. Why does it happen? They don't have an answer. We do. All right. Thank you for listening. You can email me all your hateful emails to newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I did not in any way, shape, or form mention the name of the individual who I felt attacked me, because I don't want it to be about him in any way, shape, or form. I just want it to be about how Christians are acting towards this song and trying to say, hey, I think there's a way we should handle this. There you go. All right, everyone have a great day. God bless.